trade agreements, including the African Continental Free Trade Area, which provides a framework for maximizing trade and investment opportunities across the continent. As the agency responsible for revenue collection and trade facilitation, KRA plays a vital role in local and international trade. We focus on maintaining compliance with standards and adopting best practices to enhance the competitiveness of Kenyan products, both domestically and globally. KRA is instrumental in enabling traders to access AFCFTA markets and in expanding trade. Ladies and gentlemen, in expanding trade, it is essential for us to strengthen regional integration in Africa. KRA is dedicated to ensuring traders comply with intra-trade standards and embrace best practices to improve the competitiveness of Kenyan goods. Embracing technology to streamline trade processes under AFCFTA enhances transparency and efficiency, and this is crucial in today's digital landscape. KRA has adopted the single window concept through the community-based system, CBS, integrating trade agencies and businesses to enhance efficiency, and our integrated customs management system, ICMS, has enabled reduction of clearance times at the ports. We have also introduced smart gates, advanced passenger information systems, and are using data analytics to monitor global trade trends. Looking ahead, KRA is exploring technologies like the Internet of Things, IoT, big data, artificial intelligence, AI, and blockchain, all poised to enhance customs' role in the international trade. Moreover, technology is crucial for revenue mobilization and streamlining tax processes. KRA recognizes technology's transformative power in taxpayer services and operational efficiency, as demonstrated through our ongoing policy reforms and modernization efforts. Ladies and gentlemen, the implementation of application programming interfaces, APIs, artificial intelligence, and machine learning will be pivotal in enhancing revenue mobilization through improved efficiency, accuracy, and enhancing compliance. APIs will enable seamless data exchange between KRA and taxpayers, streamlining tax filing and payment processes, and this connectivity allows for real-time updates and ease of access to information, reducing errors and enhancing user experience. AI and machine learning will enhance vast data sets to identify tax evasion patterns, optimize resource allocation, and predict future revenue streams. By leveraging these technologies, tax authorities can better understand taxpayer behavior, personalize outreach to taxpayers, and implement data-driven policies that promote voluntary compliance. Ultimately, integrating APIs, AI, and machine learning will not only boost tax collection, but also foster trust and transparency within the tax administration system. Moreover, collaboration is crucial in addressing tax malpractices arising from intra-trade. Leveraging tax transparency and cross-border exchange of information, EOI, is essential in combating tax evasion and illicit financial flows. By promoting transparency, countries can share critical financial data to identify tax evasion schemes and monitor compliance more effectively. The exchange of information framework empowers tax authorities to access information about offshore accounts and transactions, making it harder for individuals and corporations to hide assets in tax havens. This collaborative approach enhances tax administration's ability to detect, deter, and address evasion while fostering accountability in the global financial system. Working together, countries can ensure that everyone pays their fair share of taxes. In conclusion, let us embrace digital transformation as a driving force behind trade facilitation and domestic resource mobilization. I am optimistic that by the end of this 3-day forum, we will capture key insights to build a resilient and progressive system for enhancing trade facilitation and domestic revenue mobilization. I wish you all successful and fruitful deliberations as we chart our way forward. Ladies and gentlemen, let me take this opportunity now to welcome the Chairman of the Board of the Kenya Revenue Authority, Mr. Anthony Mwaura, to make his remarks. Karibu, Chairman.
Thanks so much, Commissioner General, for those remarks. Our Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, His Excellency Dr. Musalia Mudavadi, the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury, Hon CPA John Buddy, board members present, Commissioner General, all Commissioner Generals present, distinguished delegates, stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. It is my pleasure to welcome you all today for the KRA Summit under the theme, Trade Facilitation and Domestic Resource Mobilization in the Digital Age. On behalf of the Board of Directors and entire leadership of the Kenya Revenue Authority, I want to extend our gratitude to everyone who has taken the time to join us today. Your presence is a testament of the importance of the conversation we are about to have, and your contribution will be invaluable as we explore new frontiers in trade and taxation in digital era. We are living in a time of rapid transformation, where technology continues to transform the way we do business, manage resources, and engage with global markets. For tax agencies and policymakers, this transformation presents both immediate opportunities and unique challenges. Trade facilitation is no longer confined to physical borders, and resource mobilization now requires innovative, data-driven approaches that ensures fairness, transparency, and efficiency. Ladies and gentlemen, our theme for this summit speaks to the critical intersection of these global threats. We are here to explore how digital solutions can enhance trade efficiency, promote inclusive economic growth, and strengthen our capacity to mobilize domestic resources effectively. By embracing digital innovations, we not only streamline processes, enhance compliance, but also foster a culture of trust and transparency with the business community and the wider public. As we engage in these discussions over the course of the summit, I encourage you all to think boldly about how we can leverage the power of technology to create a more equitable and prosperous future. Let us focus on collaboration amongst governments, businesses, and civil society, because our shared success depends on our ability to work together. I look forward to the insightful exchanges and actionable outcomes that will emerge from this summit. Together, we will have the opportunity to shape the future of trade and domestic resource mobilization in a way that benefits all. Thank you, and I wish you a very successful engagement. Now it is my pleasure to welcome our Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Economic Planning, CPA, Honorable John Buddy, EGH, to address us. Welcome, Bonasias.
Thank you very much, Chairman. The Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, EGH Prime Cabinet Secretary of the Republic of Kenya, and also the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, the KRA Board Chairman and Directors, KRA Commissioner General, the staff of the Kenya Revenue Authority, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Yeah, it's my pleasure to join you at this 2024 KRA Annual Summit, an important event that is part of the Taxpayers Month activities. During the Taxpayers Month, we always come together to appreciate the work and self-sacrifice of the patriotic citizens who dutifully pay their taxes, which fund our nation's development. One of the core objectives of taxation is to ensure sustainability of economic development. A country's economic progress is directly tied to the growth of its resources. And to address the resource inadequacies, governments must mobilize funds that facilitate rapid capital accumulation. To this end, ladies and gentlemen, establishing strong bonds between tax administrators, citizens, and stakeholders is very crucial. We must build tax systems that enhance adequate domestic revenue mobilization, and citizens should have a voice in the decisions that affect them, including the tax policy making process. I think we are alive to that recently, when the citizens felt that they were not involved in making decisions on tax policy, we know the outcome of that. It is not long ago. So inclusive and impactful participation enriches policy making by incorporating diverse perspectives and harnessing collective knowledge. This not only strengthens public understanding, but also promotes trust in our institutions. It is therefore essential to institutionalize participatory and deliberate processes that align with the respective democracies. I therefore thank Kenya Revenue Authority for establishing this platform to engage our key stakeholders. Ladies and gentlemen, the timing of this summit is particularly opportune as the government seeks to implement initiatives and policies that enhance revenue collection, ensuring we can meet our demands for efficient public services and achieve our broader economic agenda. It also comes at a critical time when the government has just commenced preparation of the financial year 2025-2026 and the medium-term budgets. To fulfill our fiscal goals, we must embrace efficiency in domestic revenue mobilization. The government is committed to implementing both tax administration and tax policy measures to raise additional revenue. I'll speak to that shortly, because when I finish, I must make some off-the-cuff remarks. I have mentioned before that I don't like much written speech, but sometimes it is necessary. So let me finish my written speech and take just about 2-3 minutes, if you allow me, Your Excellency, to make off the cuff, because that is when I talk or speak genuinely. So that applause means, anyway, let me leave it there. But among the measures, Your Excellency, that we are adopting is the adoption of the medium-term revenue strategy. Under the medium-term revenue strategy, we aim to strengthen the policy dimension of our fiscal consolidation process, targeting the East African Community's convergence criteria of a fiscal deficit of 3% of GDP. As a matter of fact, Your Excellency, our budgets, our final budgets in this term of the administration, we must have not more than 3% as fiscal deficit. But if we can be ambitious enough, we can have a balanced budget for 2027-2028. This strategy proposes several initiatives to enhance revenue mobilization, including tax-based expansion, modernization of tax legislation, and the consolidation of tax procedures. We will continue intensifying debt collection efforts, utilizing data to improve compliance and enhancing intelligence gathering to close revenue loopholes. Additionally, our medium-term strategy promotes investment by removing market distortions through the rationalization of tax expenditures. For instance, it proposes to reduce the corporation tax or corporate tax from 30% to 25%. That is where we are heading. 30%, 25%. And we hope that the benefit of that will be passed to the economy by employing more people in the corporate world. Alongside gradual reductions in VAT, If possible, we should reduce our VAT from 16% to 14%. And other tax rates. So the government's policy is not to increase taxes. I want to repeat that again. It is to reduce taxes. But that will only be possible if we expand the tax base and we become more efficient in our tax collection. And we become also efficient in the usage of our resources. So those are three things that we must do. One, expand the tax base so that many of us pay taxes, and then be efficient in collecting the same, and be efficient in using the same taxes that we collect from Kenyans. The government remains committed to our fiscal consolidation policy that aims to reduce fiscal deficits and debt accumulation while safeguarding priority government programs and social spending. Despite these efforts, we must highlight the issue of tax malpractices, which continue to hinder our ability to secure the financial resources necessary for structural transformation and sustainable growth. Illicit financial flows, including money laundering, tax evasion, and corruption, pose significant challenges to tax administrations, especially in developing countries like ours. We must therefore prioritize international policies that empower tax administrations to combat these issues and leverage international tax frameworks to address illicit financial flows effectively. Furthermore, the role of technology in domestic revenue mobilization cannot be overstated. Embracing technology is essential for addressing modern age challenges our tax administrations face. It is only through innovation that we can enhance efficiency and effectiveness in our revenue efforts, mobilization efforts. And as I conclude, I want to reiterate the National Treasury's commitment to supporting KRA in its undertaking towards domestic revenue mobilization and economic development. I've shared with the chairman and also with the CG that the month of November, I will be engaging a little bit much more with Kenya Revenue Authority to just see how to get this authority to be able to realize its full potential. Because I believe that there are a few things that we need to do to realize full potential. Before I read the final paragraph, which is basically saying goodbye, now let me, Your Excellency, if you allow me, just make a few comments off the cuff. Our economy is very robust, the Kenyan economy. In fact, it is amazing. So the question we want to be asking is how come we have challenges in an economy that is growing at more than 5% per annum, which is above the average in this region, and it is above the global average, and not just above, way above the global average. We have an inflation rate today of 3.6%, 4.4% in July, 4.3% in July, 4.4% in August, and now 3.6% in September, which is way within the inflationary rate as a country we feel is good for economic growth of this nation, 2.5% up to 7.5%. We have more than 4 months cover, forex cover, actually 4.6, which is one of the best that any economy would have. Our currency is fairly stable, in the region of 128 to 131% of our compared to the US dollar. So we have all fundamentals working, apart from just two things. One is our public debts, which is proving to be difficult to sustain. And also, the other issue is the interest rates, which have been high and therefore crowding out the private sector, which we can balance off now with the inflation. With the inflation coming down, I think now we have the luxury, the latitude to at least lower the interest rates. And with the Fed rates coming down, I think central bank is likely to lower the interest rate so that we can have more uptake of credit by the private sector. So where is the problem? The problem is that we are not collecting tax that we should collect, not because Kenyans don't want to pay tax. We are probably overtaxing a few Kenyans and leaving majority of us not paying their fair share of tax. If you look at VAT, Your Excellency, and I mentioned this when we had a cup of tea, we have the potential of collecting at least 6% of GDP as VAT, but we are collecting only 3.8%. Because tax visibility is a challenge. We are developing a system which must enhance tax visibility. We want to see those Kenyans, not to harass you. We must also make tax payment very friendly and enjoyable. And we must speak to taxpayers that for you to do business, the single largest buyer of goods and services is the government. Give us the tax, we buy from you competitively, and you do your business, make money, give us tax, we buy again from you. I think that is the spirit. So VAT is a challenge. Rental income tax, we are only collecting 17 billion per year, yet we have the potential of collecting at least 100 billion per year. Rental income tax. Many of us here, Kenyans, we own property and we know the story. We are not paying rental income tax. That's 7.5%. If you are genuine with yourself, just ask yourself, do you really pay the rental income tax? You are not, because the system we have in place is not able to see those who are supposed to pay this tax. Visibility is low. We are not saying we go back to you pay other months. We want you to start paying. So if you are not paying out there, please start paying. I'm not exempting you from paying the previous ones, but if you can start paying from today, I would be comfortable as John Mbadi. Finally, is personal income tax. Personal income tax. Now, when I speak to this, many people will not love me. They will not like me. But the truth of the matter is this. Pay as you earn, which is payment of salary, tax from employment income, from labor income, is perfectly okay. We are raising revenue very well. But those professionals, and we have many of them, and making huge amounts of money, running into millions. If you ask how much we collect, it is very low. Doctors, lawyers, fellow accountants, we are not paying what we should pay as tax. So the system that we are developing would help us see you so that we can have a conversation. Not to harass you. Once we see you, we'll tell you we have seen you. So can we now discuss how you can pay the taxes? Customs tax, again, CG and Chairman. Our system, you call it ICMS. It is not working. That is the truth. Your staff will not tell you, they are telling me. It is not working. So we must have a system that is working. iTax, outdated. It is a system that is outdated. I will tell you, this is the feedback I'm getting, and I'm relaying it to you because I have a mouth to tell you. Your staff will not tell you, they will tell you, boss, we are trying. But what they are saying behind the scenes is that this is a system that is outdated, it is not working. And many more. Rects, How come the DRC, the cargo going to DRC is more than Kenya? Southern Sudan, how can they consume more goods? The cargo to South Sudan is more than Kenya, a bigger economy in the region. Is not true. Our systems, Your Excellency, are not working. We must fix them. So I know the phase one is on of this digitization process. We must conclude it quickly and start with phase two. Finally, even if we do all these systems, Chairman, you improve your corporate governance, without looking at the staff, we are not going anywhere. We must look at the staff and the staff welfare. Your Excellency, this is a commitment that I'm giving and I know you will help me push it even to the cabinet during the budgeting. We must increase the budget of KRA with not less than 30% in this coming financial year, so that we can sort out some of the problems. When I hear that the staff at KRA can go to hospital and their children
Please be seated. I'm just wondering whether that was deliberate. Okay. The Honorable John Bandy, Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Economic Planning. Madame Veronica Nduva, Secretary General of the East African Community or her representative. Mr. Anthony Maura, Chair of the Kenya Revenue Authority Board of Directors, members of the KRA Board, Mr. Humphrey Watanga, the KRA Commissioner General, all Commissioner Generals from other African countries, Madame Gyang Demita Chinude, Director of Customs Administration, African Continental Free Trade Area, Mr. Ian Sanders, Secretary General, World Customs Organization, stakeholders and partners, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my pleasure to join you today for this year's Africa Customs and Trade Conference on trade facilitation and domestic resource mobilization in the digital age. I commend the Kenya Revenue Authority for meticulously organizing and hosting this summit. To you all participants from across Africa and beyond, I take this opportunity on behalf of the government and people of Kenya to welcome you to Nairobi. Your perspectives and experiences will enrich the key discussions and outcomes of this timely summit. This year's summit envisions enhanced synergy and collaboration in trade facilitation, exchange of information, and knowledge sharing, with a focus on innovation, partnerships, and adoption of best practices to ensure we meet the growing physical needs of our countries. In an interconnected global economy, the significance of trade facilitation as a key driver of economic growth and domestic resource mobilization cannot be overstated. Both elements are critical for enhancing economic resilience, promoting sustainable development, and ensuring that our nations can harness their potential to create inclusive, thriving economies. Additionally, it is important to build responsive policy frameworks, enable business ecosystems, and administrative procedures that enhance resource mobilization. Therefore, effective stakeholder engagement plays a central role in this initiative. Governments, the private sector, civil society, international organizations, and consumers are all critical players in the pursuit of sustainable economic growth. Such collaborative engagements and partnerships enable governments to develop sound policies that encourage investment, job creation, and ultimately economic growth. Notably, partnerships with the international organizations, including the East African Community, the African Continental Free Trade Area, and the World Customs Organizations, provide technical support, good practices, and knowledge sharing that enhance our ability to collect taxes and manage resources effectively. Furthermore, open dialogue and collaboration among these stakeholders fosters trust and a deep understanding in dealing with emerging challenges and opportunities. Indeed, customs reforms, taxation policy improvements, and simplified trade regulations require input from a wide and diverse range of stakeholders to ensure that they meet the practical needs of businesses while maximizing the revenue potential for governments. This summit therefore presents a great opportunity for us to engage in constructive dialogue that will lead to meaningful frameworks, responsive administrative procedures, and policy reforms whose objective is to generate additional revenue for governments and improve the ease of doing business within our jurisdictions. We therefore need to leverage the power of rapid innovation and technological advancements currently driving the global economy. Tax administration must proactively adopt technology-driven solutions and systems that facilitate trade and improve domestic resource mobilization. The innovations ranging from digital taxation platforms that simplify compliance to blockchain technologies that enhance transparency in trade logistics offer powerful tools for revenue generation and efficient trade. In our experience as a country, automating customs procedures has significantly reduced cargo clearance times across the East African community's common border points. This has greatly enhanced the movement of goods and facilitated international trade. Similarly, adopting electronic invoicing systems helps to integrate informal economy into the formal tax base, widening the scope for domestic resource mobilization. We should rethink traditional tax rules and be prepared to implement global solutions that ensure all sectors contribute equitably to the national resource base. The Kenya government, under His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, will continue to invest in capacity building and technical skills training for the public servants to fully leverage these technologies and maximize the gains from innovation. Accordingly, it is encouraging to note that the program of this summit has not only placed emphasis on unlocking revenue potential and digital integration in the tax system, but also captured critical matters of our time, including efficient maritime services, environmental taxation, and green customs, cybersecurity, smart customs in the digital age, risk management, and gender equality. It will be interesting to get the Kenyan, African, and global perspectives on these and other related matters, including artificial intelligence, tax justice, and the challenges of navigating through trade facilitation in the digital era. In conclusion, let me emphasize that trade facilitation and domestic resource mobilization are essential pillars of economic development. Through strong stakeholder engagement, meaningful partnerships, innovative practices, and adherence to international tax frameworks, we can unlock the full potential of these areas to enhance our physical capacities and drive socioeconomic growth. This underscores the fact that our customs and taxation policy reforms directly contribute to sustainable development goals, human security, and dignity. In short, these efforts are not an end in themselves, but a means to ensure that our nations thrive and that our citizens enjoy the benefits of a well-managed, well-funded, prosperous economy. Before I pronounce the conference open, let me borrow a leaf from my colleague, Honorable Mbandi, just to also point out one or two things that I think may require attention and thought. First, let me start very briefly on a historical journey. I stand here because we are Kenyans, and I am proud to say that I was one of the people who pioneered the creation of the Kenya Revenue Authority. At that time, you all remember, we had three different departments: the Customs Department, Customs and Excise Department, we had the Income Tax Department, and I think the Sales Tax Department. And that structure had reached at the end of its usefulness, if I may call it that way. And when I look around, I can see some of the early commissioners of KRA. I can see my friend there, Commissioner General there. And it was not easy because people were used to certain things and you had to change some had established gravy trains within that old system. And here you are now beginning to talk about changing the whole structure and bringing in technology and new approaches. It was not easy. It was a political battle. Even to introduce the PIN, the personal identification number, the tax cheats moved all over. They even reached the churches until the churches were preaching that the PIN number is the number of the devil. Basically to try and scare reform in the whole space around tax collection and so forth. Of course, they failed. And KRA came into being. And indeed, the truth be told, KRA did and has substantially improved the whole revenue collection structure and culture in the country, no doubt. But we have now reached a stage where we need to go a notch higher. We must, as we have stated in our statements, we must now go a notch higher, become more facilitative, move away from being obstructionists, so that we can now really benefit from technology and also allow us to develop trade amongst each other. I'm sure the person from the Africa Continental Free Trade Area will share a lot of data with you. And it is embarrassing that the level of trade between African countries is minuscule compared to what we do with the rest of the world. We must correct some of these things. So there is an important agenda for you, and I want you to really give it some serious thought so that we can graduate from where we are to the next level. The other thing that I thought is important, the minister touched on it, and he talked of the issue of, in many different ways, but he was focusing on corruption. I want to confess to something, that if you did read in the papers, it is true that after consultations with the President of the Republic of Kenya and the Treasury, the government of Kenya has, on its own volition, requested the International Monetary Fund, IMF, to conduct a governance and corruption diagnostic in Kenya. And mark my words, on our own volition. We have requested for a governance and corruption diagnostic. And I signed off that request on behalf of the government of Kenya. So no institution is going to be free from this diagnostic. That includes the KRA. Corruption is across the board, and fundamental and key institutions that drive the economy and economies will all be subject to this diagnostic. Therefore, it is important that I say this publicly so that we can all know that we need to take that bold step and go a notch higher. The minister did indicate some things. I hope there are genuine reasons for not having implemented some of the programs that he was talking about. But if it turns out that it was by design, that somebody was deliberately making sure that certain aspects of the technology are not implemented or are not put in place, then the diagnostic will catch up with you. So, and this message goes to other institutions, not necessarily KRA alone, but even ministries, other departments. This will be a thorough diagnostic, and it is because the issue of corruption keeps coming back. It keeps coming back. So we must get to terms and figure out where is it domiciled. And then we start finding solutions collectively as a nation to be able to get our citizens to benefit fully from the tax that they pay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I borrowed a leaf from my colleague. The message I've put across is not a threat, but actually it is a positive message that we should embrace and we should collaborate as a government so that we come we have a realistic approach to what ails us, and then we can all cast away this dark cloud of corruption that seems to impede business, not just in Kenya, but in many other countries. Sometimes even in the developed countries, but even within the African continent, we really need to take the bull by the horns. And KRA and other tax entities within the continent will play a very, very pivotal role in dealing with this. And we do also want to appeal to our friends and partners to work very, very closely with us on this particular issue. Our service providers, help us, because pressure is mounting. The demographics on the African continent are telling us that unless we are creating jobs quickly for the young people, unless we are giving them proper opportunities, we are likely to come face to face with extremely serious headwinds. So it is time for us to collectively hold hands and find solutions, and rapidly. Thank you so much. And it is now my pleasure to declare this summit officially open. Thank you.
Mr. PCS, thank you very much, sir. If I may kindly, humbly request you if you could just come back to the stage, we take a few photos before we finish. And the first photo, we may be seated, ladies and gentlemen, as the PCS comes for a photo. Allow me to quickly call up the lineup of photos. Once the PCS has recognized you in an international forum, I think it will only be fitting for you to take a photo with him. So let me kindly request Mr. John Zafari, the Commissioner General, the third Commissioner General of the KRA, who is currently the chairman of the Kenya Shippers Council, to please take this very honorable picture of pioneers of the Kenya Revenue Authority, if I might add. His Excellency and Mr. Msafari are the pioneers amongst many others of the Kenya Revenue Authority. Let's take that photo. Next, we shall have a photo with the PCS, and Mr. Msafari shall exit stage. We'll have our CS, Mr. John Buddy. We'll have our Commissioner General, Mr. Humphrey Watanga, and we shall have our board chair, Mr. Anthony Mwaura, joining the PCS for that photo. If you could come, gentlemen, kindly, and take your positions on stage. Thank you very much, Msafari. I can see you're catching up with your old colleague. What a moment that is. Thereafter, we shall have the next photo. So kindly be on standby. Our KRA Board of Directors, you will join that particular photo. Thank you very much, our media, our fourth estate. We appreciate. Let's take that photo. Yes, sir. So His Excellency is asking whether it's only men who collect taxes. We're going to prove to you, Your Excellency, that in our board we do have female representation, and they're coming on, but I'm sure he meant that on a light touch. So may I kindly request our KRA board to kindly join this photo. Please, a round of applause for this great gentleman and the KRA board as they join that particular photo. May I request, as the KRA board is settling on stage, we shall have the KRA senior management join that particular photo, where you will see, Your Excellency, more female representation. May we walk behind next to Chairman kindly and take, I think Madam Lady Director could stand next to His Excellency just to show that our Board of Directors has female representation. All right, excellent, fantastic smiles. Let us say the KRA Summit. There you have it. Let's have our senior management quickly come on stage kindly to join that particular photo. All senior management. All right, as the board takes an exit to my right, the senior management can join on this side. Yes, Chairman, please remain. CG, please remain.